Cage really is out here doing the Lord's work. Listen, when you're out there, pants down, schlong in hand.
Okay.
Sir, I'm trying to have a conversation, please. Sir, stay out of my business. This is what happens when you get in my business. America.
Yeah, well, he'll kill you. Watch out. I told you. What did I just say?
You don't know me. You don't know me like that. You don't know what I know. Welcome to my brain. All are welcome. All are welcome.
Hey, little chonks. Welcome back to another filthy little chonky stream. Sorry, I am a little bit later than usual. Got a lot going on this next 2 weeks. Oh, I feel like I've taken a beating this week already, but in a good way, I guess, as I am getting it all done. But regardless, I am here. We're gonna go and do what we usually do, or not usually, but we have been doing on Wednesdays, is going over the latest movie I reviewed, plus some other stuff as other movie related things were dropped, and we can talk about that. Hold on one second. Had a fun time at work today for some reason. I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't like moving or lifting. I was literally just on the computer, working away, and all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, again, I was not moving. My middle of my upper spine just decided to like pop and crack, and it felt like someone stabbed me in the spine, so much so that like I lost breath for a little bit, and I don't know why. And my back has been hurting. My spine. It feels like somebody hit me directly in the middle of my one vertebrae right there. I don't know why. Again, wasn't moving, wasn't twisting, wasn't bending over, wasn't lifting, wasn't doing nothing. I was literally just like this, just click, 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 click. I don't know, man. I don't know, but yeah, it hurts to sit up like this, hurts to talk, hurts to breathe, hurts to eat, hurts to do anything. But you know what? I don't believe in it. I don't believe in things that hurt me without any good reason, so I'm just ignoring it. In fact, I often, whenever I like, if you fall down to hurt yourself, that's one thing. Like, okay. But like when stuff just hurts for no reason, there's no reason, I will intentionally use that thing more. So I've just been doing even more, sitting up straight, cracking my back even more. It's really painful. But anyways, another thing we gotta do, it's been 1 week. This has happened. I was gonna do this, but then I realized I turn off my focus. So that otherwise it just is always doing things. It's been 1 week in the fridge, and they have separated, which is to be expected. But let me see if there's any. Okay, nothing's growing because there's no CO2 being it, but we can just shake that up. Week 1 for my little thing. Shake it up. I think it's already back. It's already back. I think it's gonna work. Like I said, I have 2 more in there. I have actually 2 different cocktails. This is just the bourbon one. I have my other, whatchamacallit, gin, the Dirty Bee is in there, which is a riff on the bee's knees, but I made it dirtier. So, I have that to test. I'll test that probably tomorrow, but this is 1 week test. I don't think there's going to be much of a difference, but I have 2 more in there, and I'm going to try after 1 month, and then one I'm going to leave to 2 months, because I feel like these aren't going to sit in there for any longer than 2 months anyway, so I feel it'll be fine. You know what's funny? After I did this, one of the YouTubers that I watch that does drink stuff, they put out a video about canning cocktails, and pretty much just doing the exact same thing I'm doing, which is pretty funny to see. I didn't watch it, I just saw the thumbnail, but I thought that was funny. Anyways, let's see. I'm pretty sure it's going to be fine. I'm pretty sure it's going to be just fine. But yeah, it's really nice. Again, I mean, I just got home like, 15 minutes ago, and I had to set up all this nonsense through the stream. But all I did, right before I went live was just grab some ice and a cup, and this looks pretty good. Smells good. Doesn't even fill a whole glass. I mean, it overfills a whole glass. I have extra, which I like. Let's see. After 1 week of sitting in the fridge. Nope. Tastes just as good. Tastes just as good. Which I expected. I didn't think 1 week would be enough. We'll see after a month. The other ones I'm going to leave them for a month, and then the one after that for 2 months. We'll see those. We'll see how those do. But, anyways. Alright. Let's... oh, you know what? Let me pull up the... Let me pre-pull up the trailer. So I went and saw Companion last weekend. Which was, if you didn't watch my review, I called it, I think it said dumb fun. Because it wasn't a good movie. It was not a good movie. That being said, I did enjoy it, and it was fun. Those two things are not mutually exclusive. I'm sorry, I'm having a... There we go. Just clicking on all the wrong files. There we go. I'm going to make sure I turn the sound. There's so many things saved in the folder. When is it? This is one. I guess I'll just do it in... I'll just do it in this. I'll just make sure to turn on. Oh, actually, I don't have to, because it didn't have... That's right. I don't copy them with... I don't copy them with sound. Helps me. Ha! 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 Alright. Alright, here we go. Which button is it? I think it's this button. I think it's this button. Yep, it is that button. Alright, so we're going to talk about Companion. Obviously, this is the part where I go into super duper spoilers. Basically, just discuss everything. If you don't want that, I have a review on my channel that I released yesterday. That is... The first half is spoiler free. The second half, I go into a little bit of spoilers. But in this, the reason I like to do these streams after I've released my video is because, one, I have to cut down the script by a lot. Like, I write a script about everything I want to talk about, and then I edit it down, and then I record the script, and then I edit down even more than while I'm editing. I try to get it under 10 minutes, really under 9 minutes. Or I try to shoot for 9 minutes. So one, that leaves a lot of stuff out that I just can't talk about. And obviously it leaves, I try to be as spoiler free as possible. The first half of my video, I don't give any spoilers. In the last half, I do give some, but not, I still try to limit it as much as possible. Because one of the things which has to deal with this movie is spoilers. In that, I've mentioned this many times, not many times, but a couple times before. Maybe not to you many times, but people in my life, I've mentioned this many times. That I really don't like trailers. I really hate trailers. I understand why trailers exist, because you have to get buzz for the video, for the movie release and all that stuff. I'm not saying get rid of trailers. I'm just saying there's clearly a better way to do trailers that don't completely spoil the movie. They're gonna in any way, they're always gonna spoil the movie somewhat, because if you're like me and you just absorb everything you see and you have that type of brain, like obviously while I'm watching the movie, I'm like, oh, well, this scene hasn't happened yet, so this character I know lives or whatever is till that scene. So, in that respect, you're always going to be screwed. But I feel like in current times, they just give away everything to the point where it's like, sometimes there's like 6-minute long trailers and you're like, what's the point? What's the point of even doing the movies? In this case, I think Companion absolutely ruined all their plot devices in the trailer. Which even got more sad as I went through this. This is actually, this one right here. Is this the second trailer? Yeah, this is the second trailer they released. I didn't realize that the first trailer they released, because if you don't know, again, we're already past the spoiler part. If they do it in the trailers, that this movie's about a guy who has a companion bot, sex bot, that he jailbreaks. They reveal that all in the trailer. However, I didn't realize that in the very first trailer that they released, they don't spoil that. this one, the one that was like just as slightly, it's literally, I think it's like maybe it's half as long as the first because it's technically a teaser. But I this is what originally I saw and made me want to see this movie because it was so mysterious and interesting. And in this trailer, which I guess I just didn't think about it until I went back and edited the video for the review I released yesterday. It doesn't reveal that it's about robots or anything. Doesn't reveal that at all. And I feel like, which is like part of when I was writing my script, I actually had to rewrite and say stuff because I was like, you could have easily, made trailers that didn't reveal that plot point, and I did this whole thing, and then I realized that they did actually do that, proving my point, and so I had to rewrite and change some things. But yeah, releasing that she was a robot, because again, this is a whole first trailer. Again, I can't show any of this. I can't even, not even a second of it, because I mean, even sometimes I get in trouble just for showing these little images of it from YouTube and others, because they're real sketchy about that. But you can go and watch the first teaser trailer of this. It is not revealed at all that she's a robot in this trailer. It's not until we get to the second trailer where they just spill the beans on everything. They're just like, oh, you jailbroke your sex bot, ha 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 ha, and then the whole thing. And the reason, I mean, obviously the reason they did that, they revealed this, is one, they're stupid, very stupid. I'm sure it wasn't the people who made the movie. I'm sure it was some corporate exec, some idiot who's paid a whole bunch of money who doesn't know anything. Probably made the decision like, well, we gotta give people reasons to come see the movie, right? And it just ruined it. And like, I'm sure they softened the blow, because in the movie there's another like plot twist reveal, but the first 30 minutes of this movie is all building up to the reveal that she is a robot, that Iris, the main character, that she's a robot. It's all building up to that. The first 30 minutes, it's all building up. And again, it was like, if you were gonna reveal that in the trailer, you're wasting our time with the 30 minutes, the whole tongue-in-cheek, like, ooh, like, because they do all this stuff, like she's having conversations with all these like, oh, subtle clues that she's a robot, but she doesn't know and you don't really know. But it's like, no, I saw the trailer, so we already know that. So it's a big waste of time. And I think the reason why they let that go is because there's a second part, which again, last minute for spoilers, but the reason Josh, the guy, jailbreaks his robot Iris is so that he can use her to commit murder and then get away with it, like blame it on just like a software malfunction or something going on. But the problem is, because we know she's a robot, like I had a diagram. Because we know she's a robot, it becomes okay. So like, this is a very rough. I made this for my video. This is a very rough, like, here's the storyline. Your 3 acts, 1, 2, 3. What initiates the second act is the reveal that she's a robot, and then later in that they reveal it's the murder plot that he, used her. She's already committed the murder by this point, but it's revealed that he did it. The problem is, as I see in here, it becomes painfully clear that that this is going to happen, that he's going to use her to murder somebody, solely because we, the audience, have already been told that she's a robot before the movie even starts by the trailer. So by revealing one of your big twists of the movie, which is, again, clear they wanted that to be a twist because they spend the first 30 minutes building up to that, by revealing one of those, you revealed the other one as well by proxy. And it's just, I mean, one, it's a stupid movie, but at the same time, it was like, if they had just made the second trailer like they made the first trailer, where they didn't reveal that she's a robot, you not only would have had the huge payoff of the reveal of her being a robot, it would have been double compounded by the murder plot reveal that happens not much longer. So it would have been way more impactful and such a better viewing experience if they had just not ruined everything in the trailer. I'm like I said, obviously the people who created the movie, I'm sure they didn't intend to do this, because why else would they have the 30-minute build up to that? if they were always going to reveal it in the trailer. I'm sure they didn't. I'm sure it was some stupid exec somewhere that was like, hey, well, maybe we should make it maybe we should tell them a little more so we could entice them to go say it. So fucking stupid. So stupid. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so they did, in fact, very much ruined all their like plot twists and stuff because by the trailers, which was a super big disappointment. That being said, I personally liked the movie, but there are a lot of huge narrative problems and plot holes. And this is not a movie like you're not going to be like, intellectual. Like this is a turn your brain off. It's all stupid. The situation doesn't make sense. The way the people act don't make any sense. It's all a big absolute mess, which normally I would, leads to like a bad viewing experience because it's boring, it's stupid, you're pulled out of it, it's just terrible. However, where this movie saves itself is that the fun factor is so high. Like, it never takes itself very seriously. Everyone in it is very self-aware, and if you're not, like, I don't think they went, because, you can do that too much, where you're too self-aware and becomes, like, too, like, okay. I don't think they ever hit that threshold. I think they danced the line a little bit, for sure, and I think some people are going to be put off by that, but I think they towed the line pretty well, as far as this being, pretty silly. No one takes anything, even when people start dying all around them, it's never very serious, It's they're always throwing jokes in it. Although I will say it's funny that it's not like, I would say it's not like a super comedy. Like, there's funny elements into it, but I wouldn't necessarily call this a comedy. And then there's also horror elements into it, but I wouldn't necessarily call this a horror because they kind of just like dip their toes in those things. But regardless, it was a pretty fun viewing experience. Like I said, it was stupid. It's very, very stupid, but it's not boring. And one of the things I harsh on a lot of like reviews and stuff is that a movie doesn't necessarily need to be the biggest the highest highbrows of cinema, if you will. You shouldn't underestimate the value of fun. And that's what, like, last year, what was it? The Deadpool and Wolverine movie. That was a terrible movie. It was not written well. It didn't make any sense. It was so stupid, but that wasn't the point. The point was just to have as much fun as possible, and in that regard, they succeeded, and they made a lot of money. So I think in the same regard, this movie, I don't know if this movie will make a lot of money. I don't foresee this having a lot of good word of mouth, but who knows? I mean, I think as far as like going to see movies, like obviously they release movies for Valentine's, around the Valentine's season. That's why the stupid Heart Eyes murder movie and that other one, Love Hurts, is coming out. Which is, both of those, I'm like, well, if anything, I mean, obviously I haven't seen those two movies, but just from the trailers, I feel like this is probably going to be a better film to see for Valentine's Day, for couples in Valentine's Day, because it's just funny, stupid, entertaining, turn your brain off nonsense that everyone's going to have a good time laughing at. And stuff like that. Plus, I mean, to its credit, it's shot very well, which again should be a standard. Like, if you're releasing a movie in theaters, like, you should hit a certain level of quality, but here we are in 2025, and that has to be a compliment. But I mean, this film is shot beautifully, and oddly enough, there were several really cool visual effects scenes in this that were like so high above the rest of the film, it was almost jarring, where there was like really cool, like there was a cool effect where like a bullet goes through a robot's head, and it was just really cool. Plus all the stuff when she gets damaged as a robot, like there's a lot of like practical effects of like damage and CGI with robot hands and stuff like that, which again was it was like really high quality. So it didn't fit the rest of the movie, but it was just an interesting, like, whoa, that was cool. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, they just default to silly stupidness. You know, they bring up some interesting, like, they kind of bring up some interesting ideas of, like, you know, this world having the technology to have robots that are so good or well, like, they can mimic humans so well that you can't kind of tell. And they, like, kind of hint on, like, because that just opens up a whole can of worms. And they kind of, like, hint at that. And in the movie, it's said that the robots don't know that they're robots. They're programmed not to know that. They're programmed to, like, have fake memories, so they think they're people. Which, again, they touch on, like, well, that's a really interesting, you know, subject matter. But then, of course, they always default to just going back to being silly and stupid. Which is fine. Again, not everything has to be serious. Not everything has to be serious. I forget how long this movie did not seem, actually did not look that up for the, it didn't seem long though. Hold on. Like when I went to it, it felt like a good length. Here, you can see this. It's fine. I've got to hide it from you. 4.4. See, I think audiences are gonna like this. The Rotten Tomatoes is not the highest. 90%. Yeah, I'm not surprised critics like this because of the subject matter. However, it is. I can tell you, it is not a good movie, and we'll go into detail why it is a very bad movie. That's why in my reviews I give both a critic score and a Joe Schmo score, which is basically a score for general audiences, because I think we kind of kid ourselves. We're always like, you know, everyone wants to know what, like, opening weekend box office numbers were, but it's like that number doesn't really matter in when it comes to the quality of the film. Like, the amount of money a movie makes on opening weekend comes down to how good the marketing team is, because you're buying a product before you get to see it. So you're going in blind. So the amount of money you make opening weekend has no indication of the quality of the film. It's the second week, which, and continuing on, that matters, because most people, majority of the population, especially nowadays, considering our economy, you know, everyone needs to save their money. But still, even with movies, it's all about word of mouth. It's all about word of mouth. Like, you don't care. The vast majority, like 90% of people, they will go see a movie because, you know, their friend saw it and said it was good. Their coworker went and saw it and said it was good. You know, they heard, you know, they're at the soccer field with their kid and the parent next to them says, "Oh, I went and saw it. It was pretty good." It's all about word of mouth for most people. And so, in that, you rely on the brand, you know, the few people like me who go and see the movie opening weekend, because very few people do that. But the reason I made that's why I may have the Schmo score, which is the general audience score, because that's what I used to do for my friends. Like, I would always go see the movie first, opening weekend, because I just like to see movies all the time. And then my friends would always know to come to me to be like, "Oh, was that movie any good?" And I'll be like, "It's not a good movie, but I think you'll like it." And so that's where the Schmo score comes from. But yeah, I think general audiences are gonna like this. But let's see. 97 minutes. Again, no more movies over an hour and a half. Can we do that? Can we go back to that, please? If you can't write a story with a beginning, middle, and end in under 90 minutes, I don't think you should be making movies. No. No. So yeah, I really appreciate the past two movies I've seen have been under, and look, it actually made, pretty good box office for the first weekend. And I think judging by that, I think people like me are going to tell friends to go see this movie. Again, I'm not saying you have to see this movie because it's good. I'm just saying, if you're looking for a movie, like a date movie, I would recommend this one. But again, I don't think you need to see this in the theaters. It's not a movie. But it's good. They're already, almost breaking even here. They gotta, get another, $3.5 million to break even. So, yeah, fine. It's fine. Who produced this? I didn't look at any Warner Brothers. Of course, that explains why they probably released the trailer that exposed everything, that ruined everything. I'm sure someone at Warner Brothers was like, we need to get them in this. We need to get more people to go see this. Let's ruin the movie. I make an obscene amount of money despite being so stupid. But yeah, I'm curious. Yeah, I haven't actually looked at all this. The reason that this is so high, which I can imagine, when I was editing my video and I went to go see, I was pulling media to put in my video, like trailers and whatnot, and pictures and all that stuff. I did see like critics. That's when I saw some of the critic scores. I'm not surprised critics like this. I feel like, which I mentioned slightly in my review, obviously giving the subject matter of this movie could have easily skewed into, the stupid 2016 mindset of like girl boss, this is a sex robot controlled by like all men are evil oppressors because they were born men. The classic blatant sexism we've all come to know and love in the past decade that has created so many great media. But it dips its toe. It's almost like it was written to go that way, and then somebody may have changed it, because there is a lot of weird scenes where it like starts to dip its toe in that. Like there's one in the trailer. Where is it? I know it's in here. This part where it's the intelligence 40%. So the way this works is you can control certain aspects of the robot. And I'll get more into the specifics and plot holes and stupidness of that entire endeavor. But in this scene, if you watch the trailer, she goes, sees that her intelligence is set to 40%. And she goes, wow, Josh, and then increases it. Implying the way she says, wow, Josh, is like, oh, men like their women stupid and they could control them. But it's like, the scene doesn't make any sense. But like, of course he would want her not intelligent because he's planning to use her as a tool for murder. Like, it would make no sense for him logically to increase her intelligence, because that could ruin his plan to use her for murder. So it does. So again, like I said, that scene perfectly shows like there was like a little bit like almost like somebody wanted it to go in that direction of like, all men are bad and they are all oppressive and controlling and manipulating and evil, but like somebody or something reeled it back, because yeah, this scene doesn't make sense. She's like, wow, Josh is like, of course he wouldn't want you smart because he's using you for murder, not because he's like, I like my women dumb. Oh gosh. Also, there was like a thing of plot devices that you can't make them too intelligent for manufacturing reasons, but of course he jailbreaks her, so all the things are. But yeah, I had a fun time with this movie. It's very stupid, it's very silly at times, but then also at the same time like very gory and graphic at times. Like this scene, like, yeah, it'll be pretty graphic, but not too much. Like, it's not going to be like, I feel like the movie Heart Eyes that's coming out next week, which I'm not going to see any. I don't plan to see any movies for the next 2 weeks. I just don't want to. There's nothing I want to see. There's nothing I want to see. I'm planning to do a review on a show that I watched a while ago, but I just haven't gotten time to do a review. I'm planning on doing a review on it's a show on Netflix that came out, God, what was it called? Last month, about the Mormons, about the one of the many massacres that the early Mormons church did. The flower one, the one that was about the only one we care about because it was against white people, but they also did other massacres against white people and many other people. But I forgot what was it called. Anyways, I'm gonna do that. Probably not this week. I'm kind of busy this week. I will see if we put on a video this week. But regardless, this like there is some like graphic stuff, but I feel like it's not going to be as graphic as Heart Eyes, which looks like from the trailers is going to go full on just like gore and stupid meta humor of, you know, self-awareness, as far as like, if you watch the trailer, you can tell like the couple is like very much like, wow, we're being chased by a serial killer. Like, okay. Which can be fun, but you know, it can also be a bit much. I feel like this is going to be a better, again, I haven't seen Hard Eyes, obviously, but I feel like this will be a better date movie than that one. Even though it does pit the couple together, there is a love story in this. It's not the main couple for obvious reasons, but there's a pretty nice little love story in this, which is nice. And again, I didn't really feel like, you know, I think I saw someone who was like, this is the anti-Valentine's movie. I don't really think so. I mean, obviously the two main characters obviously don't end up together because, well, the robot and the person, so that... But, obviously one of them was planning to use the other for murder, so... But, there is a love story in this. But I still think it would be fine. It would be fine for couples, yeah. And it does not go, like I mentioned earlier, it never goes full, you know, girl boss, you know, all men are bad because they are men. Which was nice to see. But they do hint a little bit. There's like a couple scenes like this one I mentioned, and another scene where he's talking about himself. There's like the dinner scene, this scene, and he goes off on this like very I don't even know if I can say that word on YouTube. You know what I mean? I think I can. Incel-y rant, if you will, about his life and whatever. But it's really more like they could have went a certain way, like this is how men think. But it really more like goes more to like, oh no, this guy is a loser. Like it's all his fault. So yeah, it dipped its toe. It never went there, which was really nice to see. Other good things. The acting was pretty, I mean, surprisingly really good. I've never heard of this actress before. God, I already forgot her name. I think it was like Thatcher. But she did a fantastic job. Honestly, she did a really good job of, you know, playing the robot person confused. I was actually pretty pleasantly surprised, and everyone else did a really good job too. Even like the small like side actors who I've never heard of before, like this guy right here, this guy, I've seen this guy in a couple things. He always plays a really funny, he's super funny all the time. I've never seen this guy before, and he did a phenomenal job. I was actually surprised with the level of acting in this. It was pretty good all around. But yeah, I'm sorry, forgetting it. I think it's like Sophie Thatcher, I want to say. I can look it up. I had the thing here and I didn't. Let's just look it up. We should give companion. I'll just keep it up. Alright. There we go. Sophie Thatcher. Yeah, I've never seen her in anything before, but at least I don't think I have. But yeah, she did a fantastic job. Really, really carried a lot. Because a lot of the movie rides on you believing her, and did a good job. But yeah, Lucas Gage, I've never heard of this guy before. He did a really good job. All of them did good. I mean, obviously, we've seen this guy in a bunch of stuff. I've never seen her in anything. But again, everyone did a fantastic job. Even like the small side characters did a pretty good job. Yeah, it was all good. Like again, cinematography was top notch and they had some pretty good stuff. But yeah, the reason, which I understand people are going to be confused because they can't separate that something can be like, I can personally like a movie, but it can also be a bad movie. Like just because you like something doesn't make it good, but also just because you dislike something doesn't make it bad. But yeah, so I liked the movie. I enjoyed the movie. It was a fun time for me. It is not a good movie. It is a very, very bad movie. Actually, it is pretty bad. All of it pretty much stemming to the narrative, which is just a big plain mess that doesn't make any sense. You're definitely meant to turn your brain off when watching this movie, which, again, I'm okay with movies like that as long as they're fun and not like preachy or stupid or just boring. So, and this movie is not boring, but definitely the more you think about it, the more you're like, none of this makes any sense. So we'll get into it. I'm trying to remember what I mentioned in my review video that I released yesterday. I'm pretty sure I talked about, you think I remember, that I produce those videos get produced so quickly. Yeah, I often forget what I But so as we've gone through, the whole premise of the movie is that she is a companion robot who's been jailbroken, which means her settings has been, messed with. He hacked her. If you don't know what I don't know why you wouldn't know what jailbreak means. He does this to commit murder so that he can just blame it on a software malfunction, and he's murdering. They go to this house basically that he knows, like, this is his friend, and the other woman is his friend, and she's kind of like the side piece to this rich Russian dude. And so their plan is to kill him because he has all this. He has like a couple, like, I forget, like $10-20 million in a safe in this house. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's out in the middle of nowhere. So the plan is to kill him because he's like a Russian mobster. Because so they don't care. Take his money, blame the robot. She goes back to the factory, take the money. They all become millionaires overnight. Pretty simple stuff. The problem. There's a lot of problems, but let's just start with the biggest. The biggest one is like the not understanding how time and reality works. So first, in the time dimension, there's a lot of characters just teleporting around off camera to be places where they can't be, especially in the forest. So what happens is, again, you see all this coming because they spoiled it in the trailer, but they set, for instance, were for her to be basically alone with the dude, the Russian guy, and they've kind of set up where, like, again, everyone knows she's a robot, but she doesn't know. And so basically they say, like, oh yeah, you can, have sex with her, it's fine, she's a robot, no, that's what she's for, and like it's okay. And so like he's like, okay, so he's like, I'm gonna go, whatever. But of course she doesn't know she's a robot, and he messed with her settings to get rid of the default setting of, like, you can't harm a person, or the robot settings. Don't harm somebody, don't destroy yourself, blah blah blah, the robotics rules of blah blah blah. Been in sci-fi for longer than most of us have been alive on the planet. He got rid of all the settings, which we'll get into. The settings are kind of stupid. He upped her aggression and blah blah blah. So in her head, he knows that she would, because she's obsessed. The robots are obsessed with their owners, programmed to be that way. So he knows without that setting, she will defend herself if the fear of not being with him will happen. So basically, he forces himself on her. She tries to defend herself. He gets more violent, and of course, she's in her robot mind. She's like, if I die, because she doesn't realize she can't die because she's a robot. I can't be with Josh. And without her, the module making sure she can't harm a person, she kills him. That's the plan. Works out. She comes back. That's what this whole scene is, where she's in the. She walks in. That's what this whole exchange is in the trailer. She comes in. She's like, I didn't mean to. She's covered in blood. They tie her up. Their plan is to call the cops, obviously, because they got to make it look real. Call the cops, call the manufacturer, and the story will be fine. Of course, he's an idiot, which, again, I like that part where they make them. I really like where, because these people aren't like, murdering's not their thing. Not just regular Joes, taking advantage of a certain situation. A little bit messed up because they do murder, but they're just they're not career criminals, so they make a lot of mistakes. And I really like that part of the story aspect of them being so stupid and not realizing, like, you're obviously gonna get caught, which I again like. I think I like that because it mirrors real crime, whereas, like, if you're not a big crime person, like, I love crime stories and stuff like that. And one of the things I learned early on, even when I was a child watching like murder mysteries and stuff, which I know you shouldn't have watched when you're a child, but freedom, is I learned really quickly that most despite all the movies where it's like, the detective and the super criminal, and it's this big, game of cat and mouse and these intellectual minds, battling out. In reality, majority of criminals are extremely, extremely unintelligent people. Like, really stupid people. You come to realize, if you follow true crime, you come to realize that, like, most criminals are just like, I used to watch this one guy, I forgot his name, it was like Kenneth or Kyle. He was like a retired murder detective who had been on the job for like 40 years, and so basically the whole show was like slightly dramatization of his past crimes that he solved. And I remember watching them, and they were like hour-long episodes. It was really vastly entertaining. But I remember always being like, within the first 10 minutes, being like, oh, that person did it. Like, oh, they did it. And then, of course, the hour after them, and the cops would be like, we have a strong hunch. Be like, no, I'm pretty sure it was the guy who screamed he was going to murder that person, attempted to murder that person several times, left his blood and shoe prints and hair. I'm pretty sure it was that guy. But then they take a whole hour to be like, man, he almost got away with it. Most criminals are so unimaginably stupid and incompetent people. And that, I mean, I guess that's why they're criminals. They're not smart. So I kind of like that the aspect of this movie kind of mirrored that, where they were vastly incompetent. Regardless, the whole point is they're going to call the police. So they call the police. Okay? The first thing they do is call the police. Again, makes sense. You call the police to, the whole charade is going to happen. The police never show up. This movie takes place over at least a full day and a half. I believe a full day and a half, but it could be a full day and then a morning. Like, not an early morning, like 10, 11 o'clock a.m. We're talking. At least. I'm pretty sure it's a day and a half. The cops never show up. They literally show them calling the cops. They never show up. They just don't show up. There is I think there's a bunch of enough stuff in this, like some stupider people are going to get confused because there is a cop in this movie, but he wasn't answering the call. He was just driving by and gets involved in the incident, but he wasn't answering the call. He was just driving by, which is why he gets murked. Spoilers. He gets murked because, again, he's not answering call of a murderous robot. And if he was answering call of a murderous robot, he would have not gotten murked. But yeah, they never show up. And again, I know some stupid people are going to be like, well, they said the whole time that this house is in the middle of nowhere and it takes hours to get there. And I was like, one, yes, they said it takes hours, not days. But two, that doesn't work either, because later in the movie, Josh calls the manufacturer, the manufacturer of the robot, to come pick her up and do his story. And they show up. So if the manufacturers can show up, then why can't the cops show up within 2 days? Because you didn't think about it and you're bad at writing. That's why. Another thing that happens a lot in this, after they do this thing where, she comes back murder, they tie her up, she breaks free and starts running through the woods. That's what this whole woods stuff is. And then that's when the last half of the second act is them chasing her through the woods and stuff. There's a lot of characters just teleporting around in the woods. I think at one point, Josh, within the span of 2 minutes, goes 40 miles, there and back. I was like, and there's also parts where these two find, because they split up to look for her because they don't think she's that much of a danger, and they have guns and stuff. These two find her. She's hiding, but she has her phone that controls her, and it goes off, and they're like, oh, there she is. She runs. She just sprints, full on sprints. And this guy, this is also a robot. He sprints after her, and then so they're both running in the same direction, leaving this guy in the dust, who isn't, not to be mean, but he's not the most athletic being. He somehow, so they're running. Two robots running full speed in this direction. He's way back there, a mile away. Somehow teleports in front of Iris and tackles her. Magically. Just I don't know. There's a lot of that. Just characters, them showing them go great distances. It takes a lot of time. And then for the sake of the plot, just immediately being able to teleport wherever they need to be off camera. There's a lot of that. A lot of that, actually, going on. So so many holes and there's so many plot holes. I think I'm just gonna stick to the main. I'm trying to think of the biggest ones that I didn't include in my video for time's sake. I'm trying to go over in my head all of them. There was one that I was debating whether or not to cut out of the video, and I did cut it out. I'm drawing a blank what it was. I talked about the thing, and then I talked about the stupid, which we will get into. Oh, another thing, this isn't a big thing, but maybe it'll jar my memory. Okay, so the settings. So the robots have settings, so that they can't hurt people, obviously. They also have settings on their intelligence, so they can't be too smart, because I guess it'll be problematic for the programming of them not knowing that they're robots and thinking that they're people. But you can set them down to being 0, which is basically they're just a puppet at that point, where they'll just listen to what you said. And that's what this scene is. Oop, there's where he beats the police to death. It's pretty gory. Oh, there was the robot hand, which is really cool. Where is the dinner scene? In here. It's in here. It's in here. Damn it. Anyways, the dinner scene where she has her hand on fire. The reason she's like that is because she's been set to 0 and she can't do anything. One of the settings, which they harp on so much in this movie, is that it's like a huge plot point in this movie. They say it like 20 times in the movie, is that robots, if you're a robot, you cannot lie. You cannot lie. Ever. Which becomes an issue later on when she frees herself, because she runs into the police, and in order to not lie, she changes her language to speak German, so she can tell him the truth, but he won't know. They're like, I murdered someone. You know, she's saying in German, he doesn't speak German. So, if she has control of her settings, and she knows that lying is important because she changes her language so she can kind of pseudo-lie without lying. Obviously, that means that setting it's not part of a setting. It is they establish very clear that the truth-telling programming in robots is not a setting you can change. Throughout the whole movie, they make it very clear. Robots, no matter what, doesn't matter if you jailbreak them, cannot lie. Just built into, they make that very abundantly clear throughout the whole movie. Until the last 5 minutes. When all of a sudden, that is now possible. But you can change that that is a setting now. But then you have to ask yourself, okay, well, if that was a setting you could change all the time, why didn't she just change it earlier when she needed to lie to the police? Why did she have to do the whole rigmarole of changing her language to German in order so she could, tell the truth without getting caught? Again, bad writing. You didn't think. You didn't think. And there's just a lot of those little things. Like, again, another aspect of this thing, which I thought about, was like, okay, so again, as I mentioned, part of the robot's whole spiel is that they don't know they're robots. They're programmed to have, fake memories, fake past life, all that stuff, so that they believe that they're humans completely. And that's like a main plot point. My question in my head was like, well, these are robots, so they're like obviously model number, right? So like I was in my head as I was watching, I was like, what happens when a robot, a certain model meets someone else who bought the same robot? You know what I mean? Has the same face. How do they reconcile that? And I was like, okay, well, obviously this movie's very stupid and they're not thinking anything. And I was like, well, I'll just let that. It was just a side thought in my head that I thought immediately and just let it go. And it never comes up, but then at the end, they bring it up by showing her running into another robot that has her face. If you're gonna be a lazy writer and not think of everything, don't point out your flaw. It's not cute, and it doesn't make it go away. If you by pointing out your flaws, doesn't make your flaws go away. And there's just a myriad of these, like, whoever wrote this just wasn't thinking. And again, I don't think the point of this was to think. I think the point of this was to have fun. However, I will say, if you're going to go that route, then you need to go full on, Deadpool and Wolverine. Story doesn't make sense, doesn't matter, absolutely stupid and nonsensical, but we're going to crank the fun to 200%. And I don't think this movie cranks it to 200%. I think they go about 90, maybe 80, 90. But if you're gonna abandon all logic and reason and just not care about the narrative or anything making any rational sense, you need to go full 200. That would be my biggest critique of this movie. But let's continue on to the more stuff that are just absolutely brain dead stupid. The stupidest thing by far is the end. The end is so unimaginably dumb. So, at this point, everyone is dead. Everyone has died except for Josh, obviously Iris, and this remaining robot. That Josh has now imprinted on him so that he did it so he could use him to capture Iris. And at this, he gets him to wear the police outfit that he brutally murdered. He brutally murdered a cop. So he gets him to pretend to be the police so that he can call the manufacturer and have them come and pick up Iris, and he can, which again doesn't make any sense, because just because the manufacturer can't arrest you for doing stuff. Like, you still have to deal with the police, which who are apparently maybe not, because they it's been a whole day and they haven't showed up yet since we called them. It's been like, what, 16, 18 hours, and they haven't showed up when we said a robot has murdered a human, which I can only assume in this reality would be a big deal, considering, if we ever created robots, one of them killing someone would be a big fucking deal. But I guess I can't be bothered. Who knows? Maybe the crime is crazy. Whoa, you've seen one murderous robot, you've seen them all, maybe. But anyways, he calls the people to come pick her up. They show up. And in it is she's been shot in the head at this point. At this point, it is revealed that her internal hard drive system, her hard drives, are not in her head. Because why would they be? Which is, again, I think was a funny. There's like little bits of like really clever and interesting things here and there, but the majority of it is just stupid nonsense. But anyway, so she's not, this is the back of the van of the people who picked her up. They are like, oh yeah, no, her hard drives are in her like stomach area. Like, it's fine. We can pull all the footage and we'll figure out why she malfunctioned and murdered someone. And he's like, uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. They're going to figure out, because obviously she records everything, that I did it. So he sends Josh sends the other robot, this guy dressed as a cop, who's pretending to be the cop, to kill them and to destroy Iris. He kills one of them, and then Iris gets to him in a kind of, a way, because she's been factory reset at this point. So she can no longer harm people, she can no longer harm animals, and she can't harm other robots and herself. So she kind of convinces him to, and that's what the love story of this movie is between these two. And she convinces him to destroy himself, which he does, because he's been jailbroken, so he can hurt himself. So at this point, the remaining technician, who has just seen his friend, his coworker, get murdered in front of him, who has come across all the bodies of all the other people who just got murdered, who is getting chased by two murderous robots. One is now destroyed. One is now factory reset, so can't harm him. He's not in any danger anymore because Josh is in the big house. He doesn't know any of this. He just assumes it's going to be fine. He's not even paying attention. Even if he was, he's too much of a spineless weakling to do anything. At this point, he's completely safe. The technician is 100% safe. So what would you do if you have a working phone that you can call the police, a working van that you could just get it's right there, it's literally right next to you, you can just drive away? What do you think the technician should do in that situation? Did you guess super ultra jailbreak Iris so that she could go on a murder spree just free in the wild? No? It just makes absolutely no sense. But that's what he does. He ultra super mega jailbreaks her so that she doesn't need the phone anymore to control her settings. She can just internally control her settings. But it just doesn't make any sense. Why would a technician do that? For one of you work for a company that makes these robots. One of the robots just murdered a bunch of people. That company, regardless of Josh, these people jailbreaking, using it, no matter what, that company is going to be held partially responsible for that, because the ability to jailbreak shouldn't be a thing. They're going to be held partially responsible. You know this. So why, in the case where you could just drive away, you could call the police and drive away, in what world would it make sense to make your company fully liable and yourself at this point, because you did it, fully responsible for releasing an ultra jailbreaked murder robot into the wild? It makes no sense on any possible level of rational thinking. It's so dumb. Oh my god, it's so stupid. It's so unimaginably stupid. So yeah, he ultra jailbreaks her, and then she goes back in the house to kill Josh. And again, this is another extremely stupid thing. So let me get the other trailer. So she goes up. She goes up into the house with the gun, because the cop robot had the gun. She goes up into the house to murder him, and she's like, I'm super jailbreak. I can do whatever I want now. I'm like, uh-oh. So she has him at gunpoint, and Josh is like, you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it because you're still attached to me. And she struggles to pull the trigger, and he smacks the gun and starts smacking her around. And so at this point, as the audience of what the movie has shown us, has clearly shown us, that she still has some internal programming that's stopping her from killing Josh, right? You're like, oh dang, he's gonna get away with it. So he's slapping her around, he's struggling, he's about to end her. He's about to end her, and then she murders him. To which I was like, didn't we just establish not 2 minutes ago that she still can't murder him because of lingering programming? So why can she do it now, 2 minutes later? We don't know. And arguably a more difficult way to kill someone. So obviously shooting someone is easy. A monkey can shoot somebody. It's not that hard to do. Not that hard to do. Easiest thing. She couldn't do that. What she could do was take this automatic cork, which is why I put this up. This automatic uncorking wine bottle thing, and jam it into his temple and murder him that way. Again, a much arguably harder way to end someone. She could shoot him 2 minutes ago, but then can do this for reason? No reason. Again, just bad, lazy writing. It was funny though, because they kept bringing this stupid automatic decorker throughout the entire movie, and I kept waiting. I was like, why do they keep showing us this stupid automated corking? I was like, was it advertised by this? Is this a product placement? And then at the end, it's revealed that's what she uses to kill Josh in the end. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, at least there was a payoff for all, the Chekhov's gun that they kept showing us this freaking thing. I swear they show it 5 times throughout the movie. Oh gosh. But yeah, it was just dumb. It's just so stupid and badly written on so many levels. So many nonsensical levels. But yeah, again, it's a bad movie. It is unequivocally a bad movie. It's mostly, and that's just as the writing. It's just poorly written. It's terrible writing. I don't know who wrote this, but it's bad. That being said, like I said, I had a good time. I liked the movie. It's a bad movie, but I like it. There are plenty of bad movies that are objectively bad movies that I like. And there are objectively good movies that I don't like. But yeah, this is just one of them. I don't know if this will make my library. I don't really I don't really see where I'd want to watch this again, but I had a good time in theaters. Like I said, I feel like this is going to be a much better, Valentine's date movie than Heart Eyes or the other one, Stupid Love. I have a feeling they're going to be better than that. Unless, of course, you're completely adverse to gore and horror. But I said, this has a little sprinkling of gore and horror. Not like, I assume Heart Eyes will just be nonstop gore and horror. But yeah, it was fun. It's a fun time. I think this is a fun viewing experience. Obviously, we looked at, the good measure for me, honestly, if you want to get a good sense of what the general audience thinks of a movie, a good place to go is oddly enough Google reviews. I don't, and of course there's going to be shills and stupid people and stuff like that, but it usually is actually a pretty good metric for how people are genuinely vibing with a movie. But yeah, like I said, I think people are gonna like this because of the fun, man. The fun is so high in this movie. I think it could be higher. I think it could have went full on, Deadpool and whatever, Wolverine style. But yeah, I think general it's just gonna. I'm not surprised that critics love it, because critics will just get on their knees and suck the dick of any movie that's like, oh, women being the best and being number. I don't. Even though that has nothing to do with the movie at all. But yeah, it is a bad movie. It is poorly written. It has as we just went over, all the ridiculous, the mind-numbing, like the levels of stupid, terrible writing in this is just beyond. Like that's what I'm most surprised about, is like, this movie had so much fun factors to it that is making me like it over, the sheer stupidity of some of the scenes. It's the nonsensicalness. But yeah, it's alright. Like I said, it's a bad movie, but you're gonna have a good time. I think you're gonna have a good time. I think it's gonna be a much better time than plenty of. Oh yeah, here's my little, all my other things that I drew for my video that I did. But yeah, it was alright. Again, I don't think it'll make my library. I don't think I'll be adding this one to my collection of movies, but I did have a fun time. And like I said, I think underestimating the value of a good time is really stupid. I think a lot of movies do that, where they don't realize that, like, most people just want to go to the movies to have a good time. They don't need to be, it doesn't need to be thought-provoking. It doesn't need to be the spectacular visual, vomit in your eyeballs. It could just be fun. It could just be fun. And I think this movie is fun. But yeah, I'm trying to think of any other plot holes. I think I got most of them. The stupidity of the narrative. Yeah, this is where he was dressed up as the cop. Yeah, they really, again, I think the biggest thing I hate about this whole movie and experience was that how much they spoiled it in the trailers. It's just like obviously that's the only way, not the only way, well, the main way to get people excited about your movie. But like, I try to avoid trailers like the plague, because they just, especially nowadays in the past like 10 years, they just absolutely ruin movies, ruin movie experiences. And this one absolutely ruins the entire movie experience, especially when they didn't have to. It's just so disappointing. Like, there's a movie, I think the next movie I want to see that doesn't come out for like another 3 weeks is the Neon. Neon is doing another horror movie, which they've crushed it in the last 3. It's the Stephen King, the monkey. I think I actually have it. Oh, I do. It's right here. The monkey, little cursed monkey thing. I have not watched this. I'm not going to click through it. I'm just showing you the monkey thing. I have not gotten more than like 20 seconds into this trailer, because again, I'm just afraid they're gonna ruin everything. So I just like, Oh god, but yeah, this is the next movie I'm going to see. The only movie I want to see. Because again, I don't review movies because like, oh, I need to review a movie every week. Oh, I review movies. I don't go to see movies I know are going to be bad. Like I'm not going to see any of the upcoming Marvel movies. What's coming out? The Captain America, like not going to see that. That's going to be terrible. The other one where it's like the villains like Suicide Squad but Marvel and shittier. Not going to see that because why would I waste my time? It's going to be bad. We all know it's going to be bad. Everyone knows it's going to be bad. I only go see movies that I genuinely think are probably going to be good. Or movies that, you know, I skip because I'm like, it's probably going to be bad. And then I hear from a trusted friend or something that they're like, no, it was actually pretty good. And I'll take their word for it. But yeah, the next 2 weeks, there's nothing coming out. I don't want to see Hard Eyes. I'm just not interested. I don't want to see Praise Stupid Love, whatever the action one. It just doesn't seem interesting at all. It seems like they're trying to use that one actor, you know, the guy who was in Everywhere and Everything, and you know he was the little kid in the Goonies. You know, he was the little kid in there. Oh, and he was in Indiana Jones. He was Short Round. You know, I forget his name, but he has been having a resurgence in Hollywood, and it just seems like they're trying to do a John Wick thing, and I'm like, no, I don't really need to do that. Like I'm kind of over the John Wick. I don't need a discount John Wick. You know what I mean? So I'm just not interested in that. But yeah, this one I am interested in. I'm trying not to watch any of the trailers. It is done by Neon. Again, the last 3 out of 3, they're hitting homers. So I'm hoping. I mean, again, eventually they're gonna not. You know, you can't put out bangers every single time. So eventually we're gonna hit a bad one. But this one looks fun. It looks interesting. I'm definitely gonna watch that. But yeah, speaking of Marvel, we'll get off from Companion because I think I've said all I want to say about Companion. Like I said, if you're looking for a date movie for Valentine's and you want to go that route, or just a date movie in general, I think Companion will be good. Even though I know it's like, you know, the whole like it's not really a love story. You know, it's a woman and a man being pitted against each other. That spoilers don't end up together. Shocking. I still think it'll be better. I think it's it'll be a good date movie. It'll be fun. You can talk about it. You can laugh. It's one of those movies where you're just like, that was so stupid, you know. I think it's gonna be one of those movies. But yeah, I think it's really. Again, I don't think that needs to be seen. I don't think this needs to be seen in theaters. If you don't want to have for a date movie, this movie could definitely not be seen in theaters. You can wait till it just comes out on digital. It's not one. It's not, it ain't in nobody's Citizen Kane. Let me tell you that. Farthest from that, actually. But yeah, let's talk about Marvel releasing their let's bring that up, shall we? Did I get rid of it? No, I didn't. Fantastic. Really? Fantastic Four. There we go. Their new little thing. I don't know if you know. I bet you did because of fucking like. I swear. It's just like sometimes. I know it's how YouTube works. But sometimes it's just. The way. It just irks me. It's because it's just so fake and pathetic. Of like, you know, like Fantastic Four, the trailer came out. I'm sure you know, because every single person on YouTube was like, "Oh, here's my reaction to it." Within 20 minutes of it coming live, and it's just like, wow, you really thought about that. I can tell you really put some deep thought into this one. And there's nothing to react to. It's a minute teaser where they don't show us anything. There's literally nothing to react to. And yet, here's 81 Easter eggs. My reaction to it. Let's just, oh God, it's just, sometimes it's just, you see stuff like this and you're like, I think the world can be destroyed. You know what I mean? It's one of those low moments where you're just like, humanity may not deserve to continue. Oh, sorry, I gotta pause it and stuff like that. But no, this trailer released. Everyone and their grandmother's like, this is what I think about it. And it's just there's nothing. There's nothing to go off of. The only thing we get to see is what they look like. Basically it, which we already kind of knew from months ago because they had artist drawings of it, with Pedro Pascal and the Miserable Girl holding hands and be like, and sitting in the thing. I mean, so we already people are like, oh, I really like the 70s motif. It's like, we already knew that from the drawing months ago. We already knew it was going to be a retro 1960s look, futuristic look. We already knew that. Oh, well, my opinion. Oh, God. Oh, Lord, send the floods again. Oh, gosh. 21 million views. Yeah, there's nothing here. Like I said, there's nothing here other than, which they've said they're first steps. They're using this to reset the Marvel universe, which I hope they do. The Marvel universe needs to be just put in the garbage, set aside, let it burn. Let it match, let it burn. We'll just start anew. We can always start new. The whole multi-universe thing was always the biggest mistake. It's always a mistake. That's the one thing I've always hated about comic books, the Marvel comic books, is the multiple universes. That is the most... If you want to kill a story, if you want to make a story, because what multi-universe does, it makes everything you've written, all these compelling stories, all these great character arcs and everything, it makes it all pointless. It makes it all garbage by making universe. And so that's the one thing I've always hated about comic books, Marvel comic books and them, is the multi-universe thing. It's the quickest way to make every single aspect of good writing and storytelling, and it's like a magic trick to instantly turn it to garbage. No matter how well it's written, no matter how compelling, no matter how amazing or avant-garde or your writing is, doesn't matter. The moment you enter parallel universes, it immediately makes it garbage. Makes it pointless, because it makes it pointless. Makes it absolutely pointless. And so when, Marvel started to head into that, after they, did the thing that, the first 10 years, they had a plan. And then after that, they clearly didn't have a plan. And they ruined it with the multiverse. I mean, but again, you were always going to ruin it as soon as you added multiverses. But I'm hoping they're going to reset this. The only thing we can say is, again, what we've been saying for the past 6 months is, I'm pretty sure I've said this in a video months ago, is that I hope that they use the Fantastic Four to completely reset the Marvel universe, the Marvel. That we can take this futuristic 1970s, a different path, and just, if they want to bring in new characters, which I hope they don't bring in alternates, alternate Iron Man, I hope they don't do that. This would be a good chance to reset, use the Fantastic Four like Iron Man was used in 2008, use them as the base, and then, start using other characters. Now you're in a little bit of pickle, because you've used all your pretty good characters. Kind of, to be fair. I mean, honestly, unless you're a comic book fan, you probably don't know this, but Iron Man was never a really popular character. In fact, the reason I liked him as a kid, Iron Man, was because my dad showed me old comic books, and he looked like a flying garbage can. And I was like, that's hilarious. There's a flying garbage can man. I like that. As a child, I was like, that's hilarious. He's like flying garbage man who punches people. I was like, yes. That's why I liked Iron Man. So he was never a popular mainstream. No, he was not. Not until modern times. So I think you can have that same type of success. There are still a plethora of Marvel characters you can use. And let's be honest, some of the characters that you fucked up, you can redo. Like not Captain Marvel, but how about Miss Marvel? Everybody loves Miss Marvel. How about we have her, huh? No. People love it and will pay us a bunch of money to see it? We can't have that. But yeah, anyways, like I said, the trail, this fucking, oh god, steps the Easter eggs. Oh my god, the Fantastic Four, the steps the trail. Oh, who is John McAvoy playing? Oh god, it makes me hate humanity so much. Anyways, the point is, again, like I've said months ago, I'm really hoping that they use this as a basically factory reset. Let's reset. Let's act as if none of the Marvel has ever happened. We know what happened in our back of our heads, and that's where it can stay in our memories. And everything, past Endgame, we could just forget that doesn't exist. That never existed. Didn't exist. Okay. Kind of like, the Pirates of the Caribbean. There are only 3 movies. Only 3 movies. Speaking of which, I heard they're trying to get Disney's real desperate to get Johnny Depp back, but he's like, nah, you screwed me over hardcore for no reason. You didn't even listen to me when I tried to defend myself. So no, I'm never doing it again. And I hope he doesn't. I hope Johnny Depp never caves. I hope he sticks to his morals and just doesn't give in to Disney's money. But I mean, to be fair, Disney doesn't have that much money anymore, so they don't have that much to tempt it with. But yeah, I hope this will be a reset. The problem is, people are tired. People are tired. I will say though, Marvel, they're not as bad as Star Wars. Nobody fucking cares about Star Wars anymore. They have gone into, apathy like crazy. I think it was funny. Was it the show, the Bone Crew, whatever, the one with kids, the Nick Jr. Star Wars special, whatever, which I heard was okay. I wouldn't know because I just don't care anymore. But I remember seeing someone say it's really weird. I haven't seen any usual hate or videos or people saying bad things about the Skeleton Crew. Is because nobody cares anymore. You're have fallen into such irrelevancy. Nobody even cares to get mad at you anymore. And Marvel was teetering towards that, towards that area of people just not even caring to be mad at you anymore. But that wasn't until, I honestly think Marvel Rivals, the game, just putting, Marvel back in people's mouths really kind of just, not fully dead. We'll just, no, come on. Shake that corpse. We can Bernie's this corpse. But yeah, I don't know if that's going to be enough for most people. And for gamers, sure, but we'll see. Again, the Fantastic Four, it's, one, they need to factory reset hard factory reset. And 2, it's I don't know. I don't think people are going to be willing to go see this, especially with when does this come out? Because they still have the stupid other slop coming through the pipeline. They have is the Ironheart movie still coming out? They have the Captain America, that they can't stop that, which I honestly think they just should. If I was Marvel, I'd be like, you know what? We're going to eat the loss because we're going to eat it anyways. You're going to eat it anyways. So might as well eat it with some dignity, you know what I mean? If you're going to get punched in the face, might as well get punched in the face, not groveling like a little bitch, you know what I mean? They should just not put out the Captain America. They should not put out that stupid, I don't even know what it's called, it's so irrelevant, the Suicide Squad Marvel edition with the villain, you've probably seen the trailer. Do not put out Ironheart. Do not do that. I know that movie's been sitting in your pocket for the past 2 years. It's been done for 2 years. Just let it, just bury it in the backyard. Nobody has to know. Nobody's gonna know. Who's gonna know? They should just, I feel like if Marvel really, they should just kill those movies and just be like, you know what? Because I feel like if they did kill those movies, it would probably incentivize more people to see the Fantastic Four movie. Because even if a lot of people, because most people don't care about any of this garbage. They don't care. They're just people living their lives, focusing on surviving and taking care of their kids or their job or whatever. And every now and then they're like, oh, a thing's coming out. I guess I'll go see it. That general audience has been so beaten down and by Marvel. I feel like those last 3 movies, if they come out and if they the general audience go see them, I think that might be the coffin out where they're like, by the time we get to the Fantastic Four, they'll be like, I'm not gonna, like, no, I'm done. That'll be those last 3 movies will be the straw that breaks the camel's back on the general audience who isn't into internet culture, who isn't looking at all this garbage that we constantly fill our lives with. I feel like you're shooting yourself in the foot. Might as well just not put those 3 movies out. That way, in the head of the general audience who isn't internally online or isn't up to date with this, in the back of their head they'll be like, wow, it's been like 2 years or a year and a half since I've gone and seen a Marvel movie. And they're like, well, Fantastic Four's coming out? They're like, well, you know, even though I may think it's not going to be good because Marvel's been sucking the past 5 years, they'll be like, well, it's been a year since I've seen a Marvel movie, might as well. And I feel like that would have been a better strategy than, you know, well, these movies are in the pipeline, we got to put them out. Don't. Even if you can't get the insurance, you know, you can't pull a Batgirl and get the insurance money writing it off. You're going to eat a bag of dicks regardless, I feel like, with this. So you might as well have some dignity while you do it. But yeah, so we'll see. I honestly think, I don't know. This movie would have to be so good that the few people who are going to see it would have to have such good word of mouth to get the general audience on board. Because I think by the time this movie comes out, when does this come out? That's not the movie. Or did they say this? I assume it's like 2005. The end. Oh no, July. Okay, maybe no, but look, this is what I'm saying. You're gonna have Thunderbolts. That's what it's called. Thunderbolts, Captain America coming out before. I don't think Ironheart. Okay, so you're going to have 2 absolute devastating failures come out before. Only 2. So maybe they'll squeak by. Again, I feel like general audiences are tired. They're tired of Marvel. They were tired of Marvel when it was good. And they're certainly tired for the past 5 years of bullshit. Like, and putting out 2 more right before Fantastic Four, I think is it's a mistake. Again, assuming it's going to be good. I don't know. I'm going to go see Fantastic Four just because, again, I genuinely want movies to be good. I want successful stories. I want them to, but they have to be good on merit based, not because I like this, so I hope I'm going to pretend it's good and close my eyes. It has to be actually good. So I'm going to see it because I am hopeful. I am hopeful that it will be good. But honestly, I think they burned too many bridges. I think Marvel's too... I think they burned too many bridges to turn back now. Which is sad. I think this... And the same thing with Star Wars. I think Star Wars is dead. They need to back away from that franchise. Give it 10 years. Give it 10 years. And then come back. With an actual plan. Use that 10 years to come up with a plan. See how that works? But yeah, we'll see. Again, the trailer gave us nothing other than what we already knew. You know, we knew it was going to be retro 70s. We knew the characters. I will say one of the things that one of the hesitant things that it is the cast is so old. But we already knew that. Like the woman who I don't know who this woman is. I've never seen her before. I mean, she's a beautiful woman, gorgeous woman, but she's just. No, she's only 36. Oh, never mind. She does not look 36. She looks a much older, but no, look. Someone to ban already. Someone to ban? Well, it seems like I banned one person from Kick every week. It's pretty crazy. I was feeling sad that I wasn't going to be able to ban someone yet. There we go. Boop! Banned. Wow, she's only 36? She looks a lot older. Dang, I'm going to date myself here. She's only a year older than me. She looks way older. Fuck. She's still gorgeous. I'm not saying she's not absolutely gorgeous, but she's just too old. Pedro Pascal is too old too. He's very old. I mean, at least this kind of fits better. You know, Pedro Pascal's been in everything, you know, lately. He's having a moment. As the children once said 2 years ago. But I feel like this fits him more, like, you know, because Mr. Fantastic's kind of supposed to be a nerd, and I think Pedro Pascal fits an awkward nerd better than the rugged, which they try to make him like the rugged, gruff type, but he is not. Him in Last of Us, I was like, this is Joel? Or like, in that Gladiator movie he was in, like, this is not a tough man. He's a very, like, he could play like a villain, like a cerebral person, you know, someone witty, you know, in this case, a nerd. I think he can play that very, and Pedro Pascal's a good actor, but he's not an Indiana Jones, you know, he's not a man's man, you know what I mean? He's just not. So putting him, but so this role does fit him, but I still feel like he's too old. How old is Pedro Pascal? 49. He's almost, okay, yeah, he's come a little old. And this, who's playing the Thing? Where's that guy? This guy, I've never heard of this guy. But again, it doesn't really matter because as the Thing, again, kind of old. A lot of old, like, Fantastic Four is supposed to be young people. In the comic books, they're supposed to be young. Which again, you could be like, okay, well, maybe this is when they're older. But then, okay, well, why is Johnny Storm young then? Oh, he's 31. He looks a lot younger than 31. He's got a young face. Still, though, I don't know. They're a bit old. But you know. We'll see. We'll see. She is gorgeous, but yeah. I don't know. Still, age is a thing. Come on, you can be old and beautiful, but at the same time, you can be too old to play a part. You know what I mean? Like, what was that movie? The Borderlands movie where they had what's her face? What is her face? She was playing. You know who I'm talking about. She was too old to play that part. Too old. Sorry. Play roles that are more appropriate for your age. You know, you gotta let it go. You gotta, you know, let some new actors come in and find their own, you know? But yeah, other than that, there's nothing really to talk about this. But yeah, I'm just annoyed of seeing all, like, it was all my YouTube feed was just like a billion people. Here's my reaction to it. Reaction to what? Reaction to what? Stupid. Oh, God. Kill us all. Just reset. Talking about factory resets. But, yeah. Anyways. I think that's it. I think that's all I want to... That will be it for me. And it's going to be a short stream because I do need to do some work. I'm catching up. For me, this is a busy week for me because I like to do, well, one, I'm just happen to be busy at work, but also, like, you know, Valentine's Day is coming up, and for me, I like to go out, not on Valentine's Day because that's just stupid. You're just gonna be fighting a whole bunch of people to get reservations. It's stupid. So I always like to go out, not on Valentine's Day, and then on Valentine's Day, I do something, you know, with my girl, like at home. We cook food, I make drinks, and we just hang out and have a good time. But since this year, Valentine's Day is on Friday. It's not this Friday, but it's next Friday. Obviously, everyone's going to go out on that weekend. So this weekend, we're going to go out. And then on Friday, we're going to do food stuff. And I got a bunch of recipes and stuff I want to do. So it'll be different. But anyway, so I'm going to be busy the next 2 weekends just because of Valentine's Day. So we'll see. I'm going to try to put out a video. But I have so much work to do. It just happens. Yeah, it's of course I get laid with a bunch of work on top of, you know, at the worst time. But yeah, we'll do a short stream. We'll be streaming Friday. We'll be streaming on Friday. As usual, hopefully all the boys will be there, but then on the 14th, obviously, I will not be streaming. But yeah, we'll see if we get out a video. I'm going to try really hard to get out a video. I am going to put out, obviously, my gaming video like I always do next week, but we'll see if I get out a review. I'm definitely not going to get out the Mormon Netflix show review until the next week, but we'll see. I want to talk about the Emmys. I'm sorry, the Academy Awards and all the stupidity that they've been doing. Mostly want to talk about that stupid movie, the Emily Presa, whatever. and how it got nominated for like 13 nominations, which I looked up some of like the previous nominations, like, you know, actually good movies. That movie was a piece of garbage, absolute trash, like the worst examples of writing I have ever seen. It's so unimaginably a bad movie. But it got nominated for 13 for obvious reasons, because it had the right message in politics. But I looked up, just as curious to see other movies that have had 13 nominations, and like, so this movie was like better than like Dances with Wolves, Gladiator, better than Titanic, because it got nominations. It's so stupid. Yeah, we'll see if I do a video on that, or if I do a video on something else. We'll see. I'm gonna try to do something. But yeah, for today, it's gonna be a short stream. I know, short and sweet. But Friday will be a usual long stream. Hopefully, I'm gonna try to. God, I already pulled an all-nighter Monday, and I hope I don't have to pull an all-nighter tonight. Ugh. I really should not. It's so hard to pull all-nighters just working like 18 straight hours, but we shall see. Anyways, yep, I think that's all I gotta say. As far as like companion, yeah, if you're looking for a fun, stupid movie to turn your brain off, if you're looking for a date movie, recommend it. If not, you don't need to see it in theaters. It's a bad movie. It's fun, but it's bad. And it's probably not going to be everybody's cup of tea. But, yeah, I think that's it. So, yeah, that's going to do it for me for tonight. Thanks for everyone who popped in. Thanks for all you dirty lurkers in the back who didn't say anything. We love a good, dirty little lurker here. And if you'd like to hang out again, I usually stream every Monday, every Wednesday, every Friday, randomly on the weekends. So come here and check out my main streaming platform, that is YouTube. Or you can watch me on Twitch or Kick, or wherever you feel is best. But if you want extra stuff, as in I put out usually two extra videos every single week, as well as I release a short every single weekday. Plus, all my streams are cataloged on YouTube forever. So if you want anything else, you can so it's all there. So if you want all that stuff, all on YouTube. Anyways, that's gonna do it for me for tonight, and I will see you, specifically you,